Welcome back for another deep dive. This time, we're going back to 7th century Medina,
Hmm.
and we're going to be looking at a fascinating figure, Usayd ibn Hudayr,
Right.
who really embodies this kind of transition from prominent tribal leader
Yeah.
to devout companion of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him.
Yes. And I think what I'm so excited about with his story is,
Yeah.
we have a very compelling conversion experience
Yes.
and also some pretty remarkable accounts about his devotion
hmm
that I think will be really fascinating to unpack.
It's interesting, to think about Usayd's journey within the broader context of Medina at the time, right? We're
Yeah.
talking about a society
Hmm.
grappling with the aftermath of the Battle of Bu'ath,
Right.
this conflict between the Aus and the Khazraj tribes that really shook the city.
So not exactly a time of peace and tranquility
Well,
then.
no, not at all.
But this battle, though, is really deeply intertwined with Usaid's story, right?
Yeah.
Because his father was killed in the fighting. That's right. His father was a tribal chief, and that loss must have deeply impacted Usaid.
Yeah.
And even before Islam, he was already a standout individual. He
Right.
was intelligent, he was a gifted poet and orator,
Oh, wow.
athletic, and even literate, which was quite rare back then.
Yeah. I was going to say literacy was not exactly
Right.
common in
Well,
those
yeah.
times.
So you can imagine the influence he already held even before encountering this new faith.
It really makes you wonder then what leads a man like that, already a leader, to embrace something so different.
Yeah, that's a great question. And that's where the story takes a really intriguing turn.
Okay.
So there was a man named Musab ibn Umair
hmm
who had been sent by the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, to
Right.
share the message of Islam in Medina.
Mm.
And now another prominent figure at the time, Sa'd ibn Murad,
Mm.
he was a little apprehensive about Musab's presence.
Oh.
He was concerned that he might be leading the youth astray.
Right.
So Sa'd decided to send Usayd to kind of investigate.
Oh, so we have Usayd, a man who has just lost his father in this tribal conflict,
Right.
going to confront someone who represents this new, potentially disruptive force in society.
Exactly. And it's almost a cinematic scene when you imagine it.
Yeah.
You have Usayd approaching this gathering where Musab is teaching spear in hand, ready to intervene.
Wow.
But Musab was known for his composure and eloquence.
What?
So he remained unfazed.
Right.
And instead of becoming defensive, he invites Usayd to simply listen
Oh,
and promises to leave if Usayd isn't swayed.
that's a bold move.
It is. He had serious confidence in the message.
Yeah.
And that confidence stemmed from the power of the Quran.
Right.
Because as Musab began to recite, something profound shifted within Usayd.
Mm.
The beauty and the depth of the words moved him deeply.
Yeah.
It was a transformative encounter leading to his immediate conversion to Islam.
I'm really curious about how this conversion impacted his life.
Mm.
I mean, it sounds like a pretty radical shift from, spear-wielding skeptic to embracing this new faith.
It was as a dramatic change.
Yeah.
So Usayd became known for his deep love for the Quran and
Oh.
for his beautiful recitation.
Mhm.
And people were drawn to his home just to hear him.
Okay.
There are even stories about angels descending from heaven
Wow.
to listen to him as he recited Surah al-Baqarah, one of the longest chapters of the Quran.
Angels descending. That's quite an image.
It is. In one account, their presence was said to be so strong that it startled his horse, nearly trampling his own son.
Oh, my goodness.
And there's another account where people described a light emanating from Usayd as he walked,
Mm.
potentially attributed to the presence of angels.
So these stories, whether taken literally or metaphorically, really highlight the depth of his devotion.
Definitely.
I think what's interesting, too, is this wasn't just about outward rituals,
Right.
but about a profound internal shift.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. Usayd himself described feeling closest to God during moments of deep presence.
Oh.
So reciting or listening to the Quran,
Okay.
being in the presence of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him,
Mm.
and participating in funeral prayers.
Right.
So, even today in our world overflowing with distractions, this resonates.
It does.
It prompts us to consider how we can cultivate that same mindfulness and presence in our own lives.
Yeah, I think that's what's really standing out to me so far is this idea of mindful presence.
Yeah.
That it's like he discovered this connection through this focused engagement,
Exactly.
whether it was with the Quran, with the Prophet peace be upon him, or with the, solemn act of prayer.
Right. And this dedication wasn't confined to just personal reflection.
Right.
Usaid's newfound faith spurred him to active participation in the growing Muslim community.
So from a man who was initially sent to challenge this new faith, he became a key figure within it.
He did.
And what did that involvement look like?
Well, a pivotal moment was the Second Pledge of Aqaba.
Okay.
This event solidified the bond between the Muslims of Medina, known
Mm.
as the Ansar, or the Helpers, and the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his followers, who had migrated from Mecca, known as the Muhajirin, or the migrants.
And I think it's worth pausing here for a second because
Yeah.
I understand this pledge was significant, but maybe you could unpack its implications a little bit further.
Sure.
What did the Muslims actually pledge,
Right.
and how did this change the dynamics in Medina?
This was a turning point. The Ansar pledged to protect and defend the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his followers,
Right.
essentially offering them refuge and support in Medina.
Okay.
And this act of solidarity shifted the balance of power,
Mm.
and it marked a significant step in the establishment of the early Muslim community.
So we have Usayd, this man of influence from a prominent Medina tribe,
Yeah.
now standing alongside the Prophet, peace be upon him and his followers,
Right.
ready to defend this new faith.
That
It must have been a tense and uncertain time.
it was. And while Usayd deeply regretted missing the Battle of Badr,
Right.
he more than proved his commitment during the Battle of Uhud, where he stood firm alongside the Prophet, peace be upon him, and
Okay.
sustained 7 wounds.
7 wounds. That says a lot about his courage and conviction.
It does.
It seems like this wasn't just about passively accepting a new faith,
No.
but about actively putting his life on the line for it.
Exactly. And this unwavering commitment extended beyond the battlefield
Agree.
and played a vital role in navigating some rather challenging situations that arose within the community itself.
Ooh. Now you've piqued my curiosity.
Right.
What kind of challenges are we talking about?
One particularly difficult event involved Aisha, may God be pleased with her,
Okay.
the Prophet's wife.
Right.
She became the target of false accusations.
Oh.
And this caused quite a bit of pain and division within the community.
Right.
And it's a reminder that even those deeply devoted to their faith can be susceptible to rumors and misinformation.
That sounds incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
So how did Usayd, a man known for his piety and a closeness to the Prophet, peace be upon him,
Right.
respond to such a delicate situation? Did he get caught up in the rumors?
Well, it's interesting because even Usayd, known for his righteousness, was initially affected by the rumors.
Wow.
And this really just highlights the power and insidious nature of misinformation,
Yeah.
especially within a close-knit community.
Mm-hmm.
However, as the truth emerged, Usayd was among the first to vehemently defend Aisha, may God be pleased with her,
Oh, wow.
and denounce those who had spread the lies.
It's reassuring to see that even amidst such turmoil, truth and justice ultimately prevailed.
It is. And Usayd's role in this situation goes beyond just defending Aisha.
Right.
His actions reveal a depth of character that shines through in many other stories from his life as well.
So beyond the warrior and the devout follower of the Quran, there's more to discover about Usayd.
There is.
I'm all ears. What other facets of his personality come to light?
Well, for one, he had a playful side
Oh.
that often brought moments of lightheartedness to his interactions,
Right.
even with the Prophet, peace be upon him.
This sounds like a side of Usayd we haven't explored yet.
Right.
Tell me more about these lighter moments.
Okay. There's this charming anecdote where Usayd playfully pokes the Prophet, peace be upon him, and then with a mischievous grin, jokingly demands retaliation.
Oh.
And the Prophet, peace be upon him, known for his gentle humor, plays along
Okay.
and offers Usayd the chance to poke him back.
Wait, so the Prophet, peace be upon him, was open to this kind of playful banter?
He was, but there's a twist.
Oh.
The Prophet, peace be upon him, wasn't wearing a shirt at the time,
Okay.
while Usayd was fully clothed. So recognizing the absurdity of the situation
Right.
and touched by the Prophet's humility, peace be upon him,
Okay.
Usayd, instead of poking him, embraces him
Oh.
and kisses his ribs, expressing his deep love and respect.
This anecdote is so endearing. It goes beyond the typical image of a stern religious figure.
Yeah.
It reveals a genuine warmth and playfulness in the Prophet's character, peace be upon him.
It does.
And Usayd's response speaks volumes about his own capacity for affection and respect.
Definitely. And these stories offer valuable insights into the human side of these early figures. Right. They remind us that they weren't just historical icons, but real people with complex emotions and relationships.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's those glimpses into their everyday lives that makes them relatable
Yeah.
and help us connect with their stories on a deeper level.
Right.
But Usayd's life wasn't all lighthearted moments and playful interactions, was it?
No, it wasn't.
He also faced some difficult situations that tested his loyalty and his conviction.
That's true. There were times when the unity of the Muslim community was threatened,
Right.
and Usayd's steadfastness played a crucial role in upholding that unity.
This makes me think of the challenges posed by figures like Abdullah bin Ubay, the leader of the hypocrites in Medina, who often sowed discord among the Muslims.
Right.
I'm curious how Usayd, known for his piety and loyalty to the Prophet, peace be upon him,
Wow.
navigated these tricky situations.
You're right to bring up Abdullah bin Ubay. He was a constant source of tension,
Yeah.
always undermining the Prophet, peace be upon him, and spreading negativity. And there's an incident where Abdullah bin Ubay makes these very disrespectful remarks about the Prophet, peace be upon him.
Okay.
And Usayd, who was with the Prophet at the time, immediately rose to his defense.
I can imagine he wasn't too happy about it. What did he do?
Oh, he was furious. He fiercely defended the Prophet, peace be upon him, and vehemently affirmed the unwavering loyalty of the Ansar.
Wow.
He essentially told the Prophet, peace be upon him, that Abdullah bin Ubay's words held no weight with them,
Right.
and that his attempts to create division would fail.
That took some serious courage.
He did.
Standing up to someone like Abdullah bin Ubay, who held a position of authority,
Yeah.
demonstrates a strong sense of justice and a commitment to truth.
It does. And this commitment didn't waver even after the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, passed away.
Right.
This period of transition was very delicate for the Muslim community. It was fraught with potential for conflict and division.
The transition of leadership after the Prophet, peace be upon him, is something I've always found fascinating.
Yeah.
It must have been an incredibly sensitive time with various factions and opinions emerging.
It was.
So how did Usayd, this now seasoned and respected figure,
Right.
navigate this complex landscape?
His actions during this time are truly remarkable.
Okay.
So you see, there was some uncertainty about who would lead the Muslims now that the Prophet, peace be upon him, was no longer with them.
Right.
Some of the Ansar, those Muslims from Medina, felt they should have a greater say in the matter, considering their role in welcoming and supporting the Prophet, peace be upon him, and his followers.
All right.
And this sentiment, though understandable, could have easily led to a rift between the Ansar and the Muhajirin.
Right. Those Muslims who'd migrated from Mecca.
Exactly.
So the seeds of potential division were definitely there.
They were.
How did Usayd contribute to bridging this divide and ensuring a smooth transition of power?
Usayd, ever the voice of reason and unity, stepped forward. And he reminded everyone that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, himself was a muhajir.
Oh.
And that it was only fitting that his successor should also be from among the muhajirin.
That's a brilliant point.
It is. By grounding his argument in this shared history and acknowledging the Prophet's own origins, peace be upon him, Usayd skillfully appealed to both groups.
Yeah.
And his words, spoken with sincerity and wisdom, carried immense weight, effectively calming the situation and paving the way for a smooth and unified transition of leadership.
Wow.
It's a testament to his leadership skills and his dedication to the well-being of the entire Muslim community.
It sounds like Usayd's life, even in the face of challenges and potential conflict,
Right.
was marked by this incredible devotion to his faith and community.
It was.
But I know there's one final chapter to his story
Yes.
that I'm particularly eager to hear about, the story of his debt.
Right. The story of Usayd's debt is truly remarkable. It really speaks volumes about the depth of brotherhood and the values that underpinned this community.
I've heard whispers of this story,
Okay.
but I'm not entirely familiar with the details. What exactly happened?
So when Usayd passed away, it was discovered that he had a substantial debt,
Right.
4,000 dirhams.
Okay.
This was a considerable sum at the time.
Yeah.
And you might assume that his family struggled to repay it.
Right.
However, that's where the story takes an extraordinary turn.
Okay.
Umar, may God be pleased with him, who was the caliph at the time, learned of this debt and took it upon himself to settle it.
Wait, the caliph himself took responsibility for a companion's personal debt.
He did.
That seems unusual.
It was a testament to the profound bond of brotherhood that existed between them.
Right.
Umar, may God be pleased with him, didn't want his brother in faith to be burdened by debt, even in death. He considered it his personal duty to honor Usayd's memory and ensure that he was free from any financial obligations.
That is such a powerful act of selflessness.
It is.
It really challenges our modern notions of individual responsibility and financial independence.
It does. And it raises some intriguing questions. Was this a common practice back then?
Right.
Did it set a precedent for how leaders addressed the needs of their communities? What does it tell us about their social safety net and their understanding of collective responsibility?
Those are some great questions.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder if this act beyond its immediate impact, had a ripple effect on how subsequent leaders approached their roles and their responsibilities.
It's definitely something worth pondering. And what's even more remarkable is that Umar, God be pleased with him, didn't have a lot of personal wealth at the time. He actually had to sell some of his possessions to raise the funds needed to repay Usayd's debt.
So he made a significant personal sacrifice.
He did. It wasn't just a symbolic gesture.
Right.
It involved a genuine financial commitment.
Yeah. And it took him 3 years to fully repay the debt.
It did.
3 years. That's a long time to be steadily making payments. It is. Especially for a leader with the demands of running a growing empire.
Right. But Umar, may God be pleased with him, never wavered in his commitment.
Wow.
He didn't see it as a burden, but as an honor, a privilege.
Right.
To demonstrate his love and respect for a dear brother.
This entire story is just incredible.
It is.
It really makes you reflect on what it means to be a true friend, a true brother.
Yeah.
In a world often driven by individual gain and self-interest.
Right.
Usayd's story and Umar's response to it offer a profound example of genuine brotherhood and selflessness.
They do. And it's a powerful reminder that even in death, our actions, our choices, can leave a lasting legacy and inspire others to act with generosity and compassion.
Usayd's life, from his remarkable conversion to this final act of brotherhood, is truly inspiring.
It is.
I'm so glad we took this deep dive into his story.
Me too. It's a journey that reveals the power of faith, the transformative nature of genuine connection, and the enduring impact of our choices.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Let's move on to the next part of Usayd's story.
That was good.
Okay.
I'm ready.
All right. It's fascinating to delve into these stories, isn't it? They paint such a vivid picture of the values and principles that shaped this early Muslim community.
Absolutely. It's like peering through a window into a time so different from our own.
Yeah.
Yet the lessons we can glean from their experiences feel incredibly relevant.
I agree. And, you know, when you consider the profound impact that Usayd had on those around him, it's no surprise that his passing left such a void. But his legacy, as we've seen, extends far beyond his lifetime.
His story really underscores that ripple effect of our actions, doesn't it?
It does.
Even seemingly small acts of kindness, or in Usayd's case, profound displays of devotion and loyalty, can have a lasting impact on those who witness them.
That's a beautiful way to put it. It makes me think about how we can strive to embody those same qualities in our own lives. To be sources of positivity and inspiration within our own communities.
It's definitely a challenge worth embracing. But before we wrap up, I'm curious if there are any other stories or anecdotes about Usayd that you find particularly insightful or inspiring.
Oh, there are so many. But one that comes to mind involves a conversation between Usayd and Aisha. May God be pleased with her.
Okay.
After the slanderous accusations against her had been disproven.
Right.
Remember, even Usayd was initially swayed by the rumors.
Right.
And this weighed heavily on him.
Yeah.
So he went to Aisha seeking forgiveness and expressing his deep regret for doubting her.
I can only imagine how difficult that must have been for both of them.
It was.
How did Aisha, may God be pleased with her, respond to his apology?
Her response is incredibly touching. She, known for her wisdom and compassion, comforted Usayd. And told him that what mattered most was that the truth had prevailed and that their community had been cleansed of this grave injustice.
Wow.
She essentially forgave him and reassured him that his momentary lapse in judgment didn't diminish his standing within the community.
That speaks volumes about Aisha's character, doesn't it?
It does.
To offer such grace and understanding in the wake of such a painful ordeal is remarkable.
It is.
And it must have been incredibly comforting for Usayd to hear those words.
It was. And it highlights the healing power of forgiveness and the importance of offering support and understanding to those who have stumbled.
I'm also struck by how this incident reveals Usayd's humility.
Yeah.
Despite his stature and his closeness to the prophet, peace be upon him,
Right.
he wasn't afraid to acknowledge his mistakes and seek forgiveness. That takes a certain level of self-awareness and courage.
You're right. It reminds us that even the most devout and righteous individuals are not infallible. We all make mistakes. And it's through acknowledging those mistakes and striving to do better that we grow and evolve.
This brings to mind another incident that demonstrates Usayd's unwavering commitment to the prophet, peace be upon him. Do you recall the story where the prophet, peace be upon him, offered reassurance to the Ansar, including Usayd, regarding their future reward?
Absolutely. This took place during a gathering where the Prophet, peace be upon him, was addressing the concerns of the Ansar, who felt they might be disadvantaged in the hereafter compared to the Muhajirin, who had made sacrifices by leaving their homes and possessions behind in Mecca.
This seems like a sensitive topic.
It would.
A potential source of friction within the community.
Yeah.
How did the Prophet, peace be upon him, address these concerns? And what is Usayd's reaction?
So the Prophet, peace be upon him, was incredibly insightful and compassionate in his response.
Okay.
He acknowledged the sacrifices of both groups and assured the Ansar that their reward in the hereafter wouldn't be diminished.
Okay.
He reminded them that their unwavering support and hospitality had played a pivotal role in the success of the Muslim community.
Right.
And he specifically highlighted the unwavering faith and dedication of individuals like Usayd, praising his piety and steadfastness.
Wow. That must have been incredibly reassuring for the Ansar to hear.
It was.
It speaks to the Prophet's ability, be upon him, to recognize and validate the contributions of everyone within the community.
It does. And Usayd, despite being singled out for praise, remained humble and focused on the collective good of the community.
Right.
His loyalty and devotion weren't driven by a desire for personal recognition, but by a genuine love for the Prophet, peace be upon him, and his message.
It seems like humility was a defining characteristic of Usayd's personality.
It was.
Woven into all of his interactions with others.
Yeah.
Whether it was seeking forgiveness from Aisha, may God be pleased with her, or accepting praise from the Prophet, peace be upon him, with grace.
You're absolutely right. And this humility, combined with his unwavering faith and unwavering loyalty, made him an invaluable member of this early Muslim community.
Yeah.
His life serves as a powerful example of how one individual can make a lasting impact through their actions, their words, and their unwavering commitment to principles of justice, compassion, and brotherhood.
I can't help but feel this sense of awe and inspiration when I hear these stories about Usayd.
Yeah.
It's like his life embodied a set of values that transcended the specific time and place in which he lived.
Right.
Values that we can all strive to emulate in our own lives, regardless of our backgrounds or beliefs.
I couldn't agree more. And as we reflect on his legacy, I think it's important to remember that his story isn't just a historical account, but a source of guidance and inspiration for us today.
I'm curious, what specific lessons or insights do you think we can glean from Usayd's life that can be applied to our own modern context?
Well, for one, his story highlights the transformative power of faith. Usayd's encounter with the Quran was a pivotal moment in his life, leading him to this path of devotion, service, and selflessness. And it reminds us that even amidst the challenges and uncertainties of life, finding a source of meaning and purpose can be profoundly transformative.
That's a powerful point. And it's not just about blind faith, is it?
No, it's not.
Usayd's faith seemed to be grounded in a deep understanding of the Quran. A connection that fueled his actions and shaped his interactions with others.
Exactly. His dedication to studying and reflecting on the Quran wasn't merely an intellectual pursuit. It was a source of guidance and inspiration that informed his everyday life. And it's something we can all strive for, to deepen our understanding of our own faith traditions and allow them to guide our actions and shape our relationships.
This makes me think about his emphasis on mindful presence. On being fully present in each moment. Whether it's during prayer, reciting the Quran, or simply interacting with others. In our hyper-connected world where distractions are constant, this idea of cultivating presence feels incredibly relevant.
It does. Usayd's story challenges us to step back from the constant noise and busyness of modern life. And find those moments of stillness and reflection. To be more intentional in our actions and more mindful in our interactions.
It's like he discovered this profound inner peace and strength through these practices of mindfulness and devotion. A strength that allowed him to face challenges with courage and grace.
Precisely. And that inner strength is something we can all cultivate regardless of our faith or background. It's about finding those practices, those rituals, those sources of inspiration that help us connect with our deeper selves and cultivate a sense of peace and purpose amidst the chaos of life.
Usayd's story also underscores the importance of genuine brotherhood and the impact of our actions on those around us.
You're absolutely right. From his unwavering loyalty to the Prophet, peace be upon him, and his fellow companions, to his compassionate response to Aisha, may God be pleased with her after the slander, to his willingness to speak truth to power when confronting Abdullah bin Ubay. His life was a testament to the transformative power of genuine connection and selfless service.
And we can't forget that incredible act of brotherhood demonstrated by Umar. May God be pleased with him when he took it upon himself to settle Usayd's debt, even though it meant a significant personal sacrifice. That story really speaks to the depth of their bond
It does.
and the values that shape their community.
It's a powerful reminder that our actions, even after we're gone, can leave a lasting legacy. That we have the power to inspire others through our generosity, our compassion, and our unwavering commitment to principles of justice and righteousness.
As we delve deeper into Usayd's life, it's becoming increasingly clear that his story is more than just a historical account. It's a blueprint for living a life of purpose, meaning, and service.
It is. And as we conclude this exploration of Usayd ibn Hudayr's extraordinary life, I'm left with a sense of gratitude for the opportunity to learn from his experiences and a renewed commitment to embody the values that he so beautifully exemplified.
I have to say, I'm really struck by the depth and breadth of Usayd ibn Hudayr's life. You know, we've covered so much ground from his compelling conversion to his unwavering devotion, his courage on the battlefield, his tender moments of friendship, and his impact on the Muslim community, both during and after the Prophet Muhammad's, peace be upon him, lifetime. It's clear that his legacy extends far beyond any single event or anecdote.
That's what makes exploring these lives so fascinating. It's not about reducing someone to a single defining moment, but understanding the tapestry of experiences that shaped their character and their impact on the world around them. And with Usayd ibn, we see a man who, while deeply rooted in his faith, wasn't confined to a purely religious sphere. He was a warrior, a poet, a community leader, a trusted friend, and even a bit of a prankster at times.
It's that well-roundedness that I find so compelling. You know, it challenges the sometimes narrow perceptions we might have about historical figures, especially those associated with religious traditions. Usayd's story reminds us that these were real people with complex personalities, grappling with the challenges of their time while striving to live meaningful lives.
Exactly. And what's truly remarkable is that despite the passage of time, the lessons we can glean from Usayd's life still resonate today.
They do.
His emphasis on mindful presence, for example, is something we can all benefit from in our modern world, where distractions are constant and the pace of life can be so overwhelming.
It's a point I keep coming back to. It's almost like Usayd, through his deep engagement with the Quran, with prayer, and even with the solemn act of participating in funeral prayers, discovered this profound sense of inner peace that allowed him to navigate the complexities of life with a certain grace and equanimity.
It's a powerful model to consider. In a world that often prizes busyness and external achievements, Usayd's story invites us to cultivate those practices, those moments of stillness and reflection that allow us to connect with our deeper selves and find that inner source of strength and resilience.
And it's not just about personal peace, is it?
No, it's not.
Usayd's story also highlights the importance of community, of genuine brotherhood, and of recognizing the interconnectedness of our lives.
Absolutely. Whether it's his steadfast loyalty to the Prophet, peace be upon him, and his fellow companions, his tender-hearted response to Aisha, may God be pleased with her, or Umar's remarkable act of settling his debt. Usayd's life was a testament to the profound impact we can have on those around us.
These acts of brotherhood, of looking out for one another, of stepping up when someone is in need, really challenge me to consider how I show up in my own community. You know, it's easy to get caught up in the busyness of our own lives, but Usayd's story serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of extending ourselves, of offering support, of simply being present for those who need us.
You've hit the nail on the head. It's not about grand gestures or heroic acts, but about those small everyday acts of kindness, compassion, and generosity that truly make a difference in the lives of others. And as we've seen with Usayd, those acts, no matter how seemingly insignificant, have a ripple effect that extends far beyond our immediate sphere.
I'm also struck by Usayd's unwavering commitment to truth and justice, even when it meant standing up to those in positions of authority. His willingness to challenge Abdullah bin Ubay, for example, demonstrates a courage that I find deeply inspiring.
It does take courage to speak truth to power, especially when those in power hold sway within a community.
Right.
But Usayd's actions remind us that we have a responsibility to stand up for what we believe in, to challenge injustice wherever we see it,
Right.
and to be voices for those who are marginalized or silenced.
His life then offers a blueprint not only for personal transformation, but also for active engagement in creating a more just and compassionate world.
Yes.
It's a reminder that faith at its core isn't just about rituals or beliefs, but about translating those values into actions that benefit ourselves and those around us.
Beautifully said. Usayd ibn Hudayr's story is a testament to the enduring power of faith, the transformative nature of genuine brotherhood, and the profound impact we can have on the world through acts of kindness, courage, and unwavering commitment to principles of justice and compassion.
This deep dive has been a truly illuminating experience.
Yeah.
I'm walking away with a renewed sense of inspiration.
I'm so glad to hear that.
And a deeper understanding of what it means to live a life of purpose and meaning.
And I hope our listeners are walking away with a similar sense of inspiration, perhaps even a spark of curiosity to explore the lives of other remarkable figures from history who might offer guidance and wisdom for our own lives today.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the life of Usayd ibn Hudayr, let's leave our listeners with one final thought-provoking question.
Okay.
What small act of kindness, generosity, or courage can you commit to today that might ripple outwards, creating a more positive impact on your community?
Remember, even the smallest act, when done with sincerity and intention, can have a profound impact.
Yes.
Let's all strive to be a force for good in the world, just like Usayd ibn Hudayr.
Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep striving to make the world a better place.